It's about 4:02 p.m., February 13th, 2023, Liberty County Elections Commission meeting, special call meeting. Call this meeting to order. Let the record show that Commissioner Brown is here, Commissioner Chambers, Commissioner Cook, and Commissioner Mark, and myself. Michael, can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir, Judge. I can hear you fine. Thank you.
Good deal. Okay, moving right along. Anyone has any conflicts of interest, now it's time to declare such, which would may require that the commission member be excused or abstain from voting on a particular agenda item. Does anyone have a conflict of interest that you would like to declare at this time? Okay. Next thing is rules for public comment. I'm sure that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We will consider, discuss, and approve any limitations to the time allotted for public comment. Normally, guys, y'all know how this works. We do 3 minutes. And if that's okay with y'all, it's okay with me. I want to be fair to everyone, but with that's almost 20 minutes of the meeting right there alone. So if 3 minutes is okay. I've got my handy dandy Judge Chambers timer that works really well. And we would like, if you would like, see, I think we are ready.
Let's make a motion to limit.
Yeah, let's do that. Okay.
I still need to limit it to 3 minutes.
Okay. Got a motion. Any second?
I second.
Second from Emily. Okay. All in favor, say aye.
All right.
Aye.
Thank you, Mike. Okay. Motion carries. Thank you. All right. So we'll move into the public comment section. Pastor Vaughn, if you would please come up and visit with us a moment.
Not sure where I should stand.
Well, about right here so everybody can see you in the camera.
Okay. Yes, my name is Aubrey Vaughn. I'm pastor of Beulah Land Baptist Church in Tarkington in Cleveland, Texas. And I want to speak concerning Clint Bush and the fact of election. I've been an election judge, worked the election, still do from time to time, almost every election. I've watched what he's done, and he's been a top-notch administrator, always ready to serve. I don't see any problem with him going back to work, taking care of business like usual, because the elections, quite a few jurisdictions, a lot of elections going on time to time that they just need more help. I know, because I have folks that I know in the office, and I'm pretty well close to the office, and I've seen Clint work many times and really do a good job. So I think you ought to go back to work, go back to pay. I believe many judges, election judges that are here, I can't speak for all of them, but speak for a lot of them. We'd like to see him back at his job, back working, and then we'd like to see it continue. Some of those were worried about the integrity of the election. Well, it's been very high, what I've known, and I think most of you know, I have to stick with integrity. Being a preacher, I have to kind of stick with the truth and make sure it's that way. As you can recall, during all the times that we've been before you and before the commission and the commissioners, and since I've been here in Liberty County, we've been concerned about a county that's going the right direction, and I can see that it looks like it's deteriorating, going the wrong way. And I was going to try to retire, but I think what I'm doing now is retreading and being more determined than I've ever been to actually see men like Clint Bush continue in their office and not, what we call it, I don't know if the word bushwhack or whatever you might call it. You know, I think that's all wrong. And I think he's getting a raw deal. And I guess the courts are going to prove that. We'll wait and see on that. And again, innocent until proven guilty. So he ought to be back to work. That's my conclusion. And I would speak highly of him and appreciate you, the commissioners. Thank you for being here and doing your job. And so let him do his job.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Stephen Bush, if you would, please. All right.
Good evening. I'm not used to being that close to first. Ready? All right. Clint is still innocent until proven guilty, and that must be considered in this hearing. And we do believe when this investigation comes to a close, Clint will be shown to be innocent of these charges brought against him when all the facts are presented. Clint's personal and private life cannot and must not be considered against him in this hearing. They have no place here. At the first meeting, I stated that Ms. Chambers wanted Clint's job back and she should not be allowed to vote, but Judge Knott said that's not what it is. But that's exactly what happened, and y'all wanted her back. But the state stepped in and that was changed. One member of this board has already been overheard saying that they cannot wait until he gets indicted, and therefore I do believe that person holds a grudge against Clint and should not even have a place in this hearing. A lot of people are keeping track of how the members of this board are doing, and things will be remembered how you treat Clint as innocent or guilty before he even gets a chance to prove his innocence. Part of Clint's requirements is to keep a job and support his family and provide for them. He has a 5-month-old baby, a 2-year-old child, 11-year-old daughter, and a wife that loves him. He supports and provides for them with his job. So either let him go back to work, or at the very worst, just suspend him with full pay again, so he can continue providing for his family until he can prove his innocence of these charges. That's what you would want if someone like y'all were in his shoes and knew you were innocent. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Julia Martinez.
Hi,
Good afternoon.
thank y'all for letting me speak. I'm sort of scared up here, but I've worked elections for many years, not only in Liberty County, but in Harris County for over 20 years. And I have not seen anything that Clint has done wrong in his administrative duties, and he should be allowed to go back to work. And he still should be considered innocent till proven guilty. And I just don't think he's going to be proven guilty. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Danita Massey. Good afternoon, Ms. Massey. How are you today?
Yeah, fine, how are you?
Good, fine, thanks.
I'm going to read and speak freely. I can read better quicker than I can speak. Well, I've had the misfortune of not being born in Liberty County. I did have the fortune of being raised here by my parents. My parents assured that my 5 siblings and I were given an education here, were churched here, and we all made lifelong friends here. And like any teenager growing up in a small town, all I wanted to do by the time I graduated was, before I headed off to college, was just kick the dust of this small town off my shoes and go and see the world. So with that, my husband and I made the decision to raise our children in a suburb of Houston, thinking that that would offer them more experience and opportunities than a small town offered, being that I grew up in a small town. Not that our children didn't get to experience small town living, because we came back here very often, of course, to visit their grandparents. And what I noticed over the years coming back to Liberty was how it seemed to never change. When you would drive through town, you'd see the same landscape, the same people's faces in the paper every week, the same dumpy streets. And so with that, when I would come back to town to visit, I made a point of driving on the bypass to get out to their house on Government Road, because driving through town, it just seemed like it wasn't a thriving community. And I know change is hard. Many people don't like it, but a resistance to change is what is something that's completely different. We should all be receptive to other people's ideas and suggestions as to what can make our community better, and a collective effort of sharing thoughts and ideas, and not a room of these self-appointed board members, not yourselves, who decide a lot for our community. Though I'm not a big fan of social media, if you read enough posts, you see out there that are a lot of people, a lot of citizens in our community, local community, that are frustrated this same way. They feel like the same people that were making decisions for all of us that result in little or no change to our community. And I suspect that's how we find ourselves in this circumstance today. These same self-appointed board members make financial decisions with very little oversight, flying under the radar. Thank goodness that this was all brought to light. And today you yourselves are trying to find or right this wrong that was committed. As a taxpayer and a member of this community, because I moved back to Liberty, I only ask that you act and do what's right with your decision. You've certainly been privy to much more information than most of us here, so you know in your heart what's right in this particular situation. Please don't make this another taxpayer instance where taxpayer money is wasted. We've certainly seen that enough over the years, and Liberty County has certainly received a black eye over the years. Most recently with this one, we can do better, we can be better. So thank you.
Thank you. Pamela Smith. Afternoon, Ms. Smith. All right.
Well, everybody, I did not come as prepared as everybody else. I didn't write anything down because I didn't know we were going to be allowed to speak. But as everybody, I have an opinion. My name is Pam Smith. I'm the election judge for holidays out of area normally, unless you need me somewhere else, and have been for several years. And I can say that having worked elections before and after Clint came into office doing his job, that there is a significant difference. And the important thing is his issue with his other thing, although I believe he's innocent, has nothing to do with his job any more than if you were convicted or somebody said you were speeding down the road and drinking and driving. You shouldn't lose your job or have that compromised on the job that you do here. And it shouldn't be compromised on him. He does a good job. And the difference in the way that the elections are run now compared to the way they were before, when Donna was in charge, she did a good job. She had a lot on her hands because that office does so much. And when it was separated and just became Clint running it, he did such a fantastic job and made the people, us election judges and our workers, feel much more relaxed and not as tense of knowing exactly what our job entailed, how to do it, where to go with everything. And the difference made such a difference because I was always terrified I was going to screw up every single paperwork that was giving me because you have to fill it out as an election judge. You don't know about paperwork. You got to have it right. And I just found it fantastic. And the confidence that I had coming from Louisiana and coming over here, the way that I heard elections run in different places, even go right there in Harris County, the way that elections are run different. I tell people all the time how fantastic we have it here in Liberty County that other counties do not have, how many checks and balances there are for everything. And in case y'all don't know, Clint does not have anything to do with anything that we're doing there. He does administrative backstory just the way I as an election judge do. I don't touch the ballots. I don't hand them to people. I have workers that do that. And he does the same thing. He has everybody doing their jobs. So if you're worried about or fake compromising of elections, he has nothing to do with it but checks and balances, making sure that the numbers add up when they're given to him from the different people coming in. He does his job very well. He respects his job. And we as election workers respect the job that he's doing. I thank y'all for listening.
Thank you so much. Clint, you would come up.
Well, Michael. Members of the commission, thank you for the opportunity to address you. I'm glad that the grapevine is strong in Liberty County because I did not receive notice of this meeting. I am your elections administrator. I have administered over 14 elections, including the most hotly contested presidential race in American history, and the highest ever voter turnout of our citizens. My awesome team of over 40 dedicated team members serve this county each and every election, time and time again, with commitment, sacrifice, and perseverance. I could not be as successful without each one of those members and every one of those standing shoulder to shoulder as a team. I have served, assisted, and worked to ensure equality to both the Republican and to the Democratic Party. Even though personally, I may have a preferred political preference, but I do believe in fairness and an equal battlefield for the parties, the candidates, and the voters. You can ask each party chair and executive committee that they can attest to the impartial and fair treatment and fair implementation of the election laws as the elections administrator. Something finally both parties can agree on. They don't agree on much. I challenge you to ask the parties. This position that I have the honor of holding is a lifelong passion and commitment of service to democracy and to the citizens of Liberty County. I love every minute of representing Liberty County and her citizens. It gives me life, purpose, and energy. Every day, my goal is to help people, no matter the obstacle. One of the most difficult things in my life was being suspended from my job. It's my dream job, and it's my life's work. A lot has happened in the past 9 days, and I have been accused of something that I don't believe true, yet has entirely nothing to do with elections or the administration of elections or me performing my duties as your elections administrator. Even being suspended and recently in the hospital, I still serve the citizens of Liberty County by answering election questions from some of those citizens who was in the hospital with me, and by jurisdictions that called my cell phone. I answered questions for them. I always help voters in this county and jurisdictions, no matter what I'm doing or where I'm at. What happened to innocent until proven guilty? I would never knowingly do anything in any capacity of service, do anything wrong. With that being said, put me back to work is my request. I have the experience, the expertise, the commitment, and the passion for the citizens of this county and for elections in this county. Thank you for your time.
Tony May.
Take me a little while to get up there. I'll hop on the line.
That's all right, Mr. May. You got all the time you need.
All right. Where's the spot state? Is that our markers?
That's a good spot right there. You bet.
Hello, my name is Tony May. And I speak, I think, from the opposite side of the spectrum on this, because this past election was the first one that I have ever been as precinct chair. It was a new experience to me. I was made aware of it that I need to sub in for a regular one the week before the election. So you can understand, your election judges, what the fear factor that went over me when I accepted it. But having met Clint and worked with his team up here on training and stuff prior to the election, I felt comfortable that I had the resources in order to do it. Well, come up to election day, we had a major turnout. I worked with the Westlake precinct, and I think it surprised everybody we had as many people as what we did turn out to vote. But the main factor that allowed us to be able to flow through that, me being a newbie, I had a multitude of questions. And the team that Clint had up here put together to support us as election chairman, election chairmen. The flow. He had a team that supported me, especially on every question that I had, even the dumb ones. There were a few of those. But I felt completely comfortable with what was going on, the integrity of what we accomplished. The turn in, and I think it would be a great disservice if we lost his leadership here at Liberty County, because he did a good job. He had good people working with him, excellent. And I couldn't advise him on anything he could do better. And y'all can do better by going ahead and reinstating him back and put him back to work. Thank you much.
Okay. And Ron Blake, are you? Yeah.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
I know Clint from way back when I first became active in politics around here. I met Clint when he was the co-chair, I believe, of the Republican Party. And I felt like Clint and I had nothing to talk about. I was so wrong. Clint and I used to go to Generations and talk and talk and talk. And I never have met anyone that has so much respect for civics and for local government as Clint Bush. And speaking as a voting precinct chair of Precinct 1 for the Democratic Party, I can tell you that what Clint said is absolutely true. He treated the Democrats in this county, who did not fare very well in the last election, but he treated us as if we were an equally valued part of this political landscape. And Clint, we thank you for that. He's a great individual, citizen, genuine citizen. What's happening to him, I don't want to call it a sham, but it's pretty darn close. I hope you all will see fit to extend his salary or take him back. What he's being accused of has nothing to do with his office. What's the deal? Why hold him away from what he knows well, what he knows better than anyone? And we've got another election coming up. Filing for the candidates is just this Friday, the deadline. So please bring him back. We need him. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? To all the names ahead on the list. Yes, sir.
Please, the court, may I speak? I'm not on the list.
Yes, sir. Can I get your name, please?
You didn't watch it. I'm Clint's pastor. I was a school teacher. I've known him for most of his life. I can tell you all kinds of good things about Clint.
You need to state your name for the
Yeah.
record, please.
Ma'am?
You need to state your name for the record, please.
Gideon Watson.
Yeah.
But popularity is not what I'm here. I can say a lot of good things about Clint and which may affect your decision. I don't know, but the question I might have is how can you make a decision about anyone's livelihood, about their well-being, about their whole life, based upon anything where no guilt has been determined in the case of this young man here? So my question is, how can you possibly make such a decision? And that's my question to you. Okay.
Thank you. Okay. All right, if there's none others, then the public comment portion will close. Next, we opportunity to move into executive session. If so, I need a motion to move into executive session, a second, and the vote.
I move that we move into executive session.
I'll second that.
Okay. Got a motion and a second to move into executive session. All in favor, say aye.
All right.
Likewise. Okay, that motion carries. It is now 4:26 p.m. We are in executive session, and I hate to ask y'all to leave your very comfortable chairs because I know how those benches are. Okay, but if y'all would please step out in the lobby. At 4:53, we moved out of executive session back into regular session. Number 6 is discuss considering the continued suspension of pay of the employment of election administrator or take other action regarding the employment of election administrator, including suspension without pay or termination. What is the commission's? At this time, I'm looking for a motion and a second to what regard the commission would like to move for.
I'd like to make a motion, Judge Knight, if I may.
Yes, sir, please.
I would move that we continue Mr. Bush's suspension with pay for an additional 60 days from today. Then at the end of that 60 days, we reconsider our action today. And we would also reserve the right to reconsider our action today before the 60 days is up if relevant developments occur.
Okay.
I second.
Got a motion from Mr. Mark, second from Mr. Brown. Further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposition?
I abstain.
Okay, we have 4 ayes and 1 abstain. That motion does carry. Is there any further business for this commission today?
I move that we adjourn.
I will second that motion.
Okay. We got a motion from Mr. Brown, second from Mr. Mark to adjourn. All in favor, say aye. Likewise, nays.
Yes.
We are adjourned. 5 o'clock.